people gotta understand, beef never dies, it just gets old. That's it.
So G-Unit and Ja Rule are at it once more. Their most recent confrontation occurred while they were both aboard a Delta flight. Now, even though 50 wasn't present, Yayo had this to reveal.
If it was in that room, there would be no Ja Rule. There would be no 50. I put that on my father.
If it had been in that room, there would be no Ja Rule. There would be no 50. I swear that on my father. But no matter what might have happened, Ja Rule was embarrassed, and now he's back with an answer. Here's what we know. The plane. So, this February 8th, 2026, Super Bowl 60 weekend just finished in San Francisco. Everyone who mattered in the industry was there. Parties, events, brand activations, the whole scene. Tony Yayo, Uncle Murda, and their crew had been out there with 50 Cent the entire weekend, doing events with draft picks and TikTok, hitting exclusive parties backstage, snapping photos with legends, living the full Goonit lifestyle that comes with being plugged into 50's world. Yayo spoke about it on Vlad TV. They were mobbing hard all weekend. It was a victory lap, and by Sunday morning, the weekend ended and they were ready to head back to New York. They booked a Delta flight from SFO to JFK. Yayo, Murda, and the crew all had first-class tickets. They boarded early, tossed their bags in the overhead, took seats 4C and 4D, and started settling in for a 5-hour trip home. Standard procedure, nothing unusual. But before they even finished getting comfortable, someone at the airport pulled them aside and dropped some intel. Ja Rule would be on the same flight. And just like that, the energy changed.
I don't want to say who told us, but somebody was like, Ja Rule's gonna be on our flight.
So Yayo told Murda, told the rest of the crew. But no one was going to change flights or avoid anyone. That's not how they operate.
We not ducking no smoke. I'm not missing a flight home for anybody.
So now you've got the gun at side sitting in first class, fully conscious of who was about to enter that cabin door. The element of surprise was completely theirs. Ja had no idea what he was stepping into. As the plane filled, Yayo began counting empty seats. 2 remained, one up front and one right in front of where he and Murda were seated. He leaned over and tapped Murda on the arm.
Crazy if he sit right here in front of us. Lo and behold, give it like 2 minutes. Boom, I see Ja.
And there he was, Ja Rule, striding down the first-class aisle alone, with no crew, no security, no entourage, just 2 bags and a boarding pass. The moment he met Yayo's eyes, his entire demeanor shifted.
He spooked. He could tell TMZ, he could tell you, he could tell everybody he was spooked because he only seen me.
And Yayo made a point about what spotting him meant in this context. Because in the world they move in, when you see one Gunnet member, you're calculating who else could be nearby.
See me, who do you see? You see 50 Cent, you see Uncle Murda, you see some gangster around all the time.
So Jaws took seat 3 directly in front of them. And immediately, before the plane even began taxiing, Jaws started turning around asking if they were straight. "We good? We good?" Yayo says. The tone wasn't aggressive. It was the voice of a man trying to figure out if he was safe on this flight.
He wasn't even saying it in an aggressive way. He was like, yo, we good, we good, we good.
Uncle Murda wasn't having it. He fired back and told Ja not to speak to them at all. Murda's a Brooklyn guy through and through. And when his voice hits in a tight space like a first-class cabin, everyone hears it. The energy in that part of the plane jumped from 0 to 100 in seconds. Words were flying. Ja was getting louder. Murda was getting louder. Passengers started glancing up from their phones. Flight attendants began walking over. Then Yayo delivered the line that turned the whole thing up another notch. He told Ja to suck his dick. Loud, clear. The entire first class and business sections heard every word.
All aggressive shit he talking about, I told that man, suck my.
And that's when Ja went for the only weapon he had on a commercial plane, a Delta Airlines complimentary pillow. He snatched it and hurled it straight at Yayo's head, sending his hat flying clean off.
Look at those a pillow. Come on, Ja, you gotta do better.
You've got to do better. Yayo tried to spring up and charge him, but the seatbelt caught him mid-rise and yanked him right back into his seat. Murda was already out of his seat on the opposite side of the aisle, moving in. For a split second,
It seemed like it was about to become a real situation.
So, them seatbelts are sturdy. I tried to get up, and I fell back there.
But the flight attendant ended it right there. Yayo described him as a gay steward who stepped in with firm authority and shut the whole confrontation down, hit the emergency call button, told everyone to stay quiet. And just like that, the yelling stopped.
He was a gay guy, nothing against gay people, but the way he shut it down was just, he was like, stop!
The crew gathered everyone at the front of the plane, asked them one by one if they could fly without more problems. Yayo said he was fine, walked back to his seat, and stayed composed. Ja was on a different wavelength. According to Yayo, Ja had been texting people the entire time, possibly trying to get others to meet them when the plane landed at JFK. Whether that's true or not, the outcome was the same. Ja removed himself from the flight.
I knew that. He took himself off the plane. You know what I'm saying?
That knew he removed himself from the plane. You know what I'm saying? Delta confirmed that 2 passengers were addressed by the cabin crew after a dispute and that one was rebooked on a later flight. That passenger was Ja Rule. And before everything calmed back down, Yayo made sure to have the final word. The pillow Ja threw at him, he tossed it right back.
Here you go anyway, bitch ass. Threw his pillow right back to him. The same pillow he threw in my threw it right back to him. Boom, he's sitting there.
But the plane was just the opening act, because once the footage hit online, the whole thing escalated from an in-flight confrontation to a full-blown cultural moment. And the loudest voice in the room wasn't even on that flight. The fallout, 50's trolling, the AI clip, and Jay's defiance. Within hours of the plane touching down, Uncle Murda had the footage up on his Instagram for everyone to see. The first clip showed Ja Rule walking down the aisle toward his seat, with Murda narrating live over it, calling him a sucker straight to his face as the camera rolled. The raw, unfiltered energy of that clip, the tight cabin, the overhead bins, Ja's expression caught mid-realization, hit differently than a normal rat beef moment. This wasn't staged, this wasn't a music video, this was a candid encounter recorded on an iPhone in first class, and it spread fast. The second clip was even more revealing. It showed Ja's empty seat after he'd been removed from the flight, with Murda grinning and captioning it, "Ja got off the plane, L took his seat." That clip framed the full narrative from the G-Unit perspective. We stayed, he left, and we're laughing about it. By Sunday night, every major hip-hop blog and entertainment outlet had picked it up. The clips were embedded in articles across Billboard, People, the LA Times, Complex, and Hip Hop DX. Millions of views racked up in under 24 hours. That's when the boss entered the chat. 50 Cent reposted Uncle Murda's footage to his Instagram on February 9th, one day after the flight. His caption was Classic 50. He wrote that Ja was by himself, so he had to make a scene so they could remove his scary ass, then tagged his cognac brand at the end, because even while demolishing a rival's image, the man is still pushing product. That post hit the feeds of his 30+ million followers instantly. Yayo and Murda dropped laughing emojis in the comments. The full G-Unit ecosystem was activated, amplifying the embarrassment in unison. The comment section turned into a battlefield, one side roasting Ja for the pillow toss, the other telling these grown men to act their age. But 50 wasn't done. The pettiness had levels. He escalated the trolling by posting an AI-generated video mocking Ja Rule, a fully animated, exaggerated depiction of the plane scenario that made Ja look as cowardly and ridiculous as possible. This is the disturbing clip at the heart of the saga. It wasn't something Ja sent to G-Unit, it was something 50 created and sent to the internet about Ja. The video was built to maximize humiliation and virality, and it worked. Millions of views, reposts across every platform. The skulls and crying laughing emojis flooded the comments like a digital funeral for Ja Rule's dignity. Some found it hilarious, creative trolling at its peak. Others called it corny, tired, beneath a man of 50's stature and accomplishments. Either way, it dominated the hip-hop news cycle for another full rotation. Meanwhile, through all of this, the footage, reposts, AI clip, memes, headlines, Ja Rule did not sit silent. On February 10th, he took to X and started telling his side. His energy was the opposite of a man who'd been humiliated. His post read, "I popped on these punks by myself on a plane. LMKFUAS. I threw the pillow at Yayo's head because you saw knocked your hat all off. It was hilarious." He called the entire G-Unit team FUAFs and made it unmistakably clear he had zero regrets. In another post, he shared a screenshot of a TMZ message asking for his official comment on the incident. The message detailed exactly what witnesses told TMZ. Ja was identified as the aggressor, that he yelled profanities, expressed a desire to fight, and threw the pillow. The crew intervened and removed both parties briefly. Yayo had yelled back that planes are federal territory and that he hadn't done anything wrong. Ja posted that TMZ message like a trophy. His attitude was basically, yeah, I did all that, and what?
He joked about TMZ hitting him up saying witnesses claim he was loud and aggressive. Ja's response energy was basically, yep, and I do it again. No PR statement, no damage control, just straight petty nostalgia.
And that contradiction is what makes this entire situation so compelling to watch from the outside. You've got two completely irreconcilable takes on the same incident. Tony Yayo and Uncle Murda treated the encounter like content gold. They filmed it, posted it, monetized it, and then sat down for a full Vlad TV interview to break down every moment from when they arrived at the airport to when Ja's seat sat empty. For them, this was a W. This was proof that Goonut still runs things, even in the sky. Ja saw it the exact opposite way. He walked into enemy territory alone, 2-on-1, no crew, no backup, and he still got loud, still threw the pillow, still said exactly what was on his mind. In his version, being removed from the plane doesn't mean he lost. It means he was the one applying pressure. The other two were sitting there with cameras out.
Not the club, not the studio, not an award show, a plan, which just proves some rap beefs never expire. They don't age, they just go quiet until seat 23B.
Two completely different mindsets. One side treating it as entertainment, the other treating it as a statement, and both claiming total victory. That's what a 27-year beef looks like when it erupts in the most random setting imaginable. Nobody agrees on what went down, and everyone thinks they won. But beneath all the jokes, the posts, and the AI clips, Yayo dropped something on Vlad TV that reminded everyone this thing has a darker origin than memes can capture.
Lucky Fifth wasn't on the plane because niggas would have been amped up because he did.
And that line wasn't a joke. Because when you revisit what Yayo said on Club Shay about the past confrontations, the studio fights, the weapons, the moments that almost went down in closed rooms with no cameras and no flight attendants, you realize that the only reason this stayed a pillow incident is because of where it happened.
If it was in that room, there would be no Ja Rule. There would be no 50. I put that on my father. There would be no Ja Rule. There would be no 50.
That's not internet talk. That's a man describing what he believes would have occurred if the circumstances had been different.
They came with crutches and butcher knives and fruit shit. Like, come on, like they ain't come with no artillery. We had artillery.
The implication is simple, but the weight is massive. Gunnit had access to things the other side didn't even consider bringing. And the only thing that prevented disaster in those early days was a combination of luck and logistics. Fast forward to 2026, a commercial aircraft flying under federal jurisdiction, seatbelt signs blinking, a flight attendant who wasn't playing. The most dangerous weapon in play? A complimentary Delta pillow. The plane itself contained what the people inside might not have contained. This is the root. Why 27 years of history, grudges, and feuds couldn't be killed by time, distance, or even maturity. To understand why Ja Rule cannot sit in the same first-class cabin as a Gunnit affiliate without turning the situation into a scene, you have to go all the way back to Southeast Queens, late 1990s. That's where the fire was lit. Nothing, prison, career changes, age, or miles, has been able to put it out. Both Ja Rule and 50 Cent grew up in the same streets, the same blocks, South Jamaica, Hollis, between Merrick Boulevard and Guy Brewer Boulevard. The streets didn't care about rap dreams. They came up under the shadows of the same drug lords, the men whose legacies are woven into Queens street culture, whose influence stretched into music. Supreme McGriff, Fat Cat Nichols, Pappy Mason. They lived that world. They rapped that world. And for a brief window, their paths overlapped, without incident. The commonly cited spark goes back to 1999. An associate of 50 Cent robbed Ja Rule at gunpoint for his chain, while both were building names in the local scene. Later, Ja spotted 50 near the person who robbed him, and the seed of suspicion was planted. 50 maintains he wasn't involved, but the damage was done. Ja brought the grievance to his Murder Inc. tap. From that point, their trajectories became permanently entangled in opposition. Ja Rule tells a different version. It started over a snub on the Murder for Life video shoot, where 50 felt disrespected by the director and jealous of the neighborhood love Ja was receiving. Irv Gotti had also rejected 50's demo tape, adding more fuel. Whatever the trigger, by the end of 1999, 50 Cent and Ja Rule were enemies, and it quickly turned physical.
A brawl at a nightclub in Atlanta escalated. Chains were snatched, punches thrown. March 24, 2000, took it to another level. 50 Cent was at the Hit Factory in Midtown Manhattan recording Power of the Dollar. Murder Inc. members, including Black Child, Irv, and Chris Gotti, arrived, and a brawl erupted. Black Child stabbed 50 in the chest and hands. 50 fled, bleeding, stumbled into a neighboring studio, and was rushed to the hospital. He survived, downplayed the injuries, calling them scratches. Tony Yayo, present at the time, later told Club Shay Shay that this could have been catastrophic. The difference between that and total disaster? Circumstance and restraint. The G-Unit side has consistently implied they were prepared for far more serious violence, and that luck prevented escalation beyond stab wounds. 2 months later, May 2000, 50 Cent was shot 9 times outside his grandmother's Queens home. Hand, arm, hip, legs, chest, face. He survived. Months of recovery followed, and a mythology was born around him that no marketing campaign could create. The shooting was linked to Kenneth Supreme McGriff and the orbit around Murder Inc., though no convictions were secured. This event didn't just change 50's career, it rewrote what a rapper's origin story could look like, and cemented the feud with Ja Rule as more than music drama. When 50 signed with Eminem and Dr. Dre, dropped Get Rich or Die Trying in 2003, the beef went mainstream.
Tracks like Back Down and Wanksta were surgical attacks on Ja Rule's credibility. Everything was questioned: toughness, authenticity, associations, singing. Ja responded with loose change, targeting 50, Eminem, even Haley, Eminem's daughter. Slim Shady entered fully loaded. Hail Mary, 50, Eminem, Busta Rhymes over a Tupac beat remains one of hip-hop's most merciless diss tracks. Later, Ja dropped Blood in My Eye, a full album weaponized against G-Unit. It flopped. The timing couldn't have been worse. 2003, feds raided Murder Inc. offices for money laundering. Irv and Chris Gotti indicted. Cleared in 2005, but the label collapsed. Ja's career stalled. His album stopped moving. By 2011, he was in prison for weapons and tax evasion on $3 million plus in unreported earnings. By 2013, the game had moved on. Without him. 50 Cent? He built an empire beyond expectation. G-Unit Records, vitamin water deal netting hundreds of millions, TV franchises, publishing, films, liquor, headphones, mogul status achieved. Yet every few years, he reminded the world and Ja Rule that he lost nothing in the rivalry. Buying out front row concert seats just to leave them empty, mocking Fyre Festival, posting about sales, legal troubles, relevance, age. Ja keeps responding, which brings us to 2026. Ja Rule sees Tony Yayo in 4D, not a random guy, a soldier of the man who dismantled his career, mocked his failures for 20+ years, bought out concert tickets as a joke, turned his name into a punchline for 30+ million Instagram followers. Yayo sees Ja Rule, not a chart-topping star having a bad travel day, but the camp that came to the Hit Factory with knives, the camp tied to shooters at 50's grandmother's house, the camp that blocked every G-Unit blessing. That pillow on a plane, it carries the weight of 1999, 2000, 2003, every year since. Setting changes, intensity drops, weapons downgrade, knives to pillows, diss tracks to AI videos, but the feeling, the resentment, the history, it never softens. Yayo knew that. He summed it up on Vlad TV with one line that captured 27 years of bad blood in a single sentence.
I don't understand. Beef never dies, it just gets old. That's it.
On Club Shay Shay, when Shannon Sharpe pressed Yaya about why he still takes shots at Ja Rule after all these years, Yaya didn't overthink it. No philosophy, no intellectualizing the animosity. He just said what it was. Plain, direct, unfiltered. No reconciliation hidden in that sentence. No olive branch tucked between the words. That was a man telling you, without pretense, that this animosity has no expiration date. It doesn't matter how old they get. It doesn't matter how many years pass. It doesn't matter if they're in a studio, on a stage, or on a Delta flight in first class surrounded by strangers, flight attendants, and federal aviation laws. The moment they occupy the same space, it's a problem, and it always will be. 50 Cent said it years ago. It ain't over until one of us is gone. And based on everything, the plane, the pillow, the
The footage, the AI videos, the social media posts, the Vlad TV interviews, the 27 unbroken years of hostility. He was right.
These are men in their late 40s and early 50s. They've got kids, businesses, legacies that go far beyond the music that made them famous. But the moment they're breathing the same recycled air in a first-class cabin, it's 2003 all over again. The context shifts. Studios become airplanes, fists become pillows, diss tracks become Instagram reels, street confrontations become AI-generated comedy sketches. But the energy underneath, identical, unchanging. It doesn't evolve, it doesn't mature, it doesn't cool down with time. It just keeps going, forever. Like a loop nobody can break, and honestly, nobody wants to. That permanent, unresolvable, irrational commitment to a grudge started in the housing projects, barbershops, and street corners of Queens before some fans were even born, is exactly why people can't look away. It's not about the music anymore, not about record sales, not about chart positions, not about who had the better verse. It's about pride. It's about history. It's about two sides of the same neighborhood that chose different paths and have never forgiven each other. And if you're flying Delta from the West Coast to JFK anytime soon, check who's in your first class before you sit down. That brings us to the end of this video. For more deep dives like this, click on the cards on your screen.